think I've primarily been asked to come here today to put the point of view of someone who is a football fan, but also particularly being a female football fan, because one of the arguments quite often is that safe standing is actually discriminates against women. I've been told to kind of start by giving you a bit of my background and establishing my credentials, so I put on a skirt to prove I actually am a girl, because it's not what you used to tell. I've been watching Leeds home and away for over 20 years now. I'm not sure if that enhances my credibility or diminishes it really, but there you go. And I've also been involved in researching football for the last 17 years. I wrote my master's dissertation on women's spectatorship in men's football, which I'm actually going to talk about a little bit here before I bring it back specifically to standing. And I work for as an associate for Substance, who do a lot of work with supporters direct, so I was a researcher on the social value of football report and stuff like that. I've been asked specifically to address the question of women in football and what motivates women to go and watch men's football, which is kind of an interesting question. I mean, even the fact that I'm being asked to answer that is interesting, because I would actually argue that there's no single experience of football common to all women fans, just as there isn't for men. My own experience and those of other women I know who do attend football, and the women that I talk to when I do my research, kind of would highlight that actually it's the same thing that attracts women to the game as men, namely a passion for the game, a commitment to their team, and that sense of identity that comes with supporting a team, and the sense of belonging to a community of fans. Now, at the same time, that's not to say that my experiences of watching football have never actually been affected by my gender, and if you'll bear with me, I'll give you a couple of examples of things that happen to me and people that I know. There are certain things that women who attend football are more likely to report and say that they've experienced. You know, I have walked along a row of seats trying to find mine and had mine bottom pinched. I have been asked to bear certain parts of my anatomy for the lads. Or at a game against Charlton a couple of years ago, when we'd won, we could have got promoted. A man I've never met before and never seen since announced he was going to kiss me if we scored a goal and won. We didn't win, but he thought he'd kiss me anyway, which is kind of random. It may have happened to other people in this room, perhaps not, but there you go. And there's also still a level of suspicion, I think, when you're looking at why women might want to go to matches. Perhaps we want to be there because we kind of just want to annoy the men that are going with and kind of cramp their style. Or that if we do actually like football, that perhaps for a reason that nobody believes we actually genuinely do like football, that we kind of have to prove ourselves in a way. That I've been going to watch Leeds, like I say, for over 20 years. When I moved to London, I used to go and watch away matches by myself. Which was fine, and I quite enjoyed it. But then about 5 years ago, I got myself adopted by a nice friendly Leeds fan, and I now have a group of lads that I go and watch Leeds with. But I've been going with them for about 2 years before I realised that they actually thought the only reason I went to watch Leeds with them was because I was sleeping with a guy that I originally met, even though they knew I had a partner and everything. And it wasn't until I was on a train on a Friday night on the way up to Southend and they were having a discussion about that they wanted to answer a question about the player who left and played for Villa and Sheffield Wednesday. And I told them the answer was Benito Carboni, when none of them knew that. But they actually started to believe that the reason I want to spend my Friday nights in November in Southend or my Tuesday nights in Swindon watching Leeds United lose are actually because I do love Leeds and not any of them in particular. Now, I'm not saying that's never happened to any of the men in this room when they go and watch football, but these are the things that characterise my experience as a woman going to watch football. So to bring it back, you know, when you think, what's she going on about? To bring it back to the matter in hand, you know, these are the things that women will relate when you talk to them about going to watch football. When I've done my research or talking to the women that I know, the thing that they don't tell me is what they really want. It's really important for them that there is seating, that will make or break whether or not they go to a football match. If you significantly want to enhance the comfort of women going to watch football at any given time, then the easiest thing you can do is to increase the amount of toilets available in the away end, because I am sick of having to queue for one toilet or whatever. That's the easiest thing. To me and to most women, and indeed in fact all football fans, the decision whether or not to sit or to stand at a football match is a matter of personal choice. The argument about introducing safe standing, against introducing safe standing because it somehow discriminates against women football fans, I find to be a particularly spurious one. And I think it's kind of associated with some of these misplaced ideas that basically you should be encouraging more women to go and watch football, because we'll have a calming, civilised influence on our male counterparts. But somehow that's why we would want to go, not because we actually share and enjoy the passion, that we might appreciate more being able to stand up and the atmosphere that creates. We should be there to have a pacifying influence on the game. And again, what I can tell you from talking to women is that actually really annoys women, that somehow we should be singled out to play that kind of role, rather than treated as people who actually go to enjoy and watch the game in their own right, because we have a love of the game. And it's not just me that feels like that. Like I say, I've talked about my research, but also the FSF has commissioned research. And I think in the most recent research, the 2012 Football Supporters Survey, 85% of the women fans of their questions said that they would actually like to stand, and 30% were in favour of standing, and 35% said that they would always prefer to stand. I've been to Peterborough for the last 2 seasons, and I've been given the choice as to whether to buy a ticket to stand or to sit. I always choose to stand. Thanks for the 6 points, by the way. We need them. So I mean, it's basically, it does come down to a matter of choice. It's not a gender decision. It's just, you know, what happens. I kind of remember the last time that I went to watch Leeds away and I actually sat down. We always stand. Everybody always stands. I'm happy to do that. I would prefer to do that. Like I say, I would make that choice. There are other people who would prefer to sit down, and they don't actually have that choice as things stand, because there are other people getting in the way. There are people who want to take their kids away, and if they do that when everybody's standing there, the kids end up standing on the seat. Some schools go, oh, that kid falls off the seat. It's actually, you know, it's actually quite dangerous. You should be able to have the choice so that those who want to sit can sit, and those who want to stand can stand. It's not a gender issue. And I think, you know, you're hearing a lot of arguments here about why it is safe, you know, lots of technical arguments and stuff. I think when you put them all together, I don't see why we can actually reasonably all agree that to try and say standing is the only sensible way forward.
Fiona, thank you very much indeed. Can I now invite Steve Prosdick to give his view?
Thank you.